Hello friends, family and other creatures of the sea, and welcome to a fantastic game of StarCraft 2. This is Byun here in the top left as the red Terran player versus, oh my god, another Terran. It is Cure here in the bottom right as our blue Terraner. Now this is from the GSL semifinal. Spoiler alert of that first semifinal in 3, 2, 1. This first semifinal, I think this was the first semifinal at least, it was, this is game 5. So the score at this point was 2-2, and this is a game that really stood out to me. I watched it live, I was like, holy crap, this is legitimately one of the sickest games I've ever seen in my life. And yes, I know it's TvT, but I'm gonna talk you through it, okay? Trust me on this one. In general, as of late, I've been freaking loving TvT, and this mainly comes due to my increased understanding of the matchup. I never really quite understood a lot of the small things that people did, but now that I notice them, the game is way more fun for me to watch. Like, actually, way more fun. I enjoy TvT for the first time in my entire life. It's like a new flavor just opened up, you know, a flavor that before you couldn't imagine going your entire life without eating spicy food, you know, not being capable of appreciating spicy food. That must suck. That's what living without an understanding of TvT is like, okay? And I'm going to try to get you guys just as enthusiastic. So in the future, rather than whenever I upload a TvT, everyone commenting, please, no more TvT. This matchup makes me want to kill myself. Everyone will be like, wow, another TvT. Harstem, you're really treating us with all these TvTs. Like, yeah, that's right. Interesting build order here from Byun, something that is quite uncommon. Opened up with a gas first here. Reaper into factory with reactored Hellions as a follow-up. So this is fairly safe for a 1 Rex expand. It absolutely dies against a proxy 2 Rex, but it stays alive against most other things because you're just going to have a lot of cars. I think the initial plan might have been to go for a medevac here, but rather than a medevac, we actually see a Raven as a follow-up. Now, there used to be some openers like this in the past where people would open up with a lot of Hellions and Ravens, and then they kind of go into mech from there on out, like basically a TvT Hellion style. I recall 4GG doing this in, I want to say 2015, maybe 2014, in Heart of the Swarm, if I'm not mistaken. But that most likely isn't going to be the case, as Byun is known to be a massive bio player. Now, when it comes to Cure's opener, a very standard 2-gas opener, slightly worse economically than his opponent usually. That tends to be the case, but as he killed 2 workers, it might have somewhat evened out, and he delayed the command center building a bit as well. We actually see Cure with a faster 3rd gas, so that's nice. He also has a slightly faster tech. Now, there are 6 Hellions out on the map, and as the first Raven makes its way across as well, there might be some potential for damage here. I assume the Raven is going to go in towards the main base, maybe throw down an auto turret, while the Hellions go towards the natural to see if they can take out some of these SVs. Look at this 3rd gas, though, or this 4th gas. This is somewhat interesting. We're going to get to that in a sec. So here we go. Moves forward, roasts 3 Marines immediately, goes back in, tries to take out a Reaper there. As the auto turret now gets landed, that means a pull off of gas. And look at the scout that Byun just got. He sees 4 gas here, takes out more Marines, continues just dealing damage and lowering the Marine count. Now, why is 4 gas so suspicious? You never, ever in a million years get a 4th gas before you get a 3rd command center. The moment you invest so much in getting more gas, most likely you're going to be using that gas for something aggressive, and most of the time that aggressive thing is going to be a 2nd starport. Now, we do have 2 Ravens out, 3 Ravens, excuse me, for Byun, so he has a decent amount of spellcasters that can help against this. He is going to lose the air battle, and there's a couple of choices he can make right now. And there's a couple of choices we have seen in the past from Terrans. Now, back in the day, this was the most common response in general, or the most common setup for Terran. You would swap the starport over with the barracks. Barracks goes towards the tech lab. Starport, after building the Ravens, goes towards the reactor, and you start your own Viking production. As of late, we've seen a lot of kind of 3 racks where this starport, rather than going to this reactor, it just builds another reactor and goes into what is kind of referred to as the medevac style. This is something that Byun is hugely fond of because he wants to be aggressive in this matchup. He's not a player that likes to play these air dominance battles, but it almost feels like his hand is being forced here by his opponent because we see Cure with that double starport, and air dominance is just going to be very important. This is a weird fight though to start. Only 2 Ravens here for Cure. We have a bunch of auto turrets being landed right now. And we have an interference matrix. This feels way better than it ever should have been for Byun. Byun, I mean, his third base is already done. His opponent is all-inning him. And Byun just managed to hold in the middle of the map. This is pretty much the opposite of what you would expect to happen. I think Byun made the incorrect read here. Byun thought he perhaps did not notice this forward gas and was like, oh, standard game. Let me push across the map, see if I can do something. And right now Byun's like, wait, there's no third base yet. I guess that's not the weirdest thing. I think Byun thinks that there is a third base right now for his opponent. Byun is playing as if this is just a normal game. But this is anything but a normal game. He's super far ahead. Look at the production here. Double E-base going down before his opponent adds a second or a third barracks. And Byun thinks that he can actually... oh, this is so sad in a way. He thinks that he can win the air battle with the Vikings. He's like, no, like, I won that first battle. Surely I'm gonna have more Vikings, right, guys? Like, he has 6 Vikings, and he's gonna be adding his first medevac soon as well. He's getting his 1-1, his combat shield. Cure is still in a position where it feels like the only thing he can do right now is to try and desperately push across the map and hope that Byun completely messes up his defense, or is to sit back and just turtle up like a madman. And that was actually a pretty decent trade here. Right now, Byun should realize that there is a second starport, because this level of air production, I mean, that is absolutely unheard of. 30C did get constructed on location. As we see, Cure is down about, well, what is it, 20 supply, 11 supply, I can't count, my apologies. Combat shield is about to finish up, and I think with 1-1 upgrades, or just even with the combat shield, it's going to be so freaking difficult here for Cure to take a good fight. So freaking difficult. Look how little marines he has as well. All the damage will need to come from these tanks when it comes to the anti-ground damage. Viking trade, 1-for-1. Both players probably okay-ish with that. As you see, Byun still trying to get a fight. Has his combat shield done right now, and the first 2 medevacs are out as well. Scan on top of this, we get a big stim forward. This could be a big fight. This could also be perhaps a bit of a blunder, but the micro is good enough. The splits are fine, and these tanks, well, they're not all going to end up dying, but 2 tanks do go down. Marine counts get reset, and this basically just stops the snowballing of this tank count of Cure getting higher and higher. That's really important. This tank might be in trouble if Byun tries to kill it. He does not. Liberators are out right now as well. 4GC probably should be on the way soon, as the armory gets built over here at the third base. So right now, what are the resources that Cure has available for him? So he has superior sieging with these Liberators. He has the air control, but he has inferior tank numbers. He has inferior marine numbers. He has no upgrades on these marines. He has no combat shield on these marines. You'd figure that a big collapse on top of this army might be capable of dealing some real damage here. Forward base on the way, on location for Byun as well. And this is something Cure isn't even really dreaming of quite yet. Both players full in vision of one another. Aggressive siege forward into one Liberator zone, as these tanks are kind of getting destroyed, honestly. Very poor trade for Byun. He's gonna lose 3, 4, 5 tanks. He's gonna end up losing a couple of these marines as well. And for the first time in this game in a little while, Cure pulls ahead in supply, simultaneously Viking in the main base. Not quite sure what they achieved, but they must have well, 1 worker kill, I guess. Used to be 1, now it's 2. 7 tanks have died on the side of Cure. As we now see it's not really a doom drop, but a significant drop heading in towards the natural. Vikings are somewhat in position. Turret is in the correct location as well. The sensor tower will be helping out any attacks, you know, spotting any attacks that go through the middle. And turrets over here on the bottom side, any attacks that want to go into the main base. Cure knows what Byun likes to play. As Byun gets his 4GC to finish up and adds 3 more barracks in. Double reactors, or a new reactor on this barracks. We're gonna see double siege tank. Uh-oh. Cheeky little fight here. Not necessarily a great fight, as this medevac is going to end up dying. 3 marines inside of it also fall. And these tanks are going to try and take out this refinery for whatever reason. I'm not entirely sure about that. Liberators are now showing up. Simultaneously, nothing else is happening. So this is really the only threat, and it's not a very good one, to be quite honest. This feels weak. And this tank is stuck as well. Poor guy will need to re-siege over here. Marines come in, will clean up this army. Byun still up in supply, still up in upgrade, still up in infrastructure and up a base. But the last few fights have not been so great for him. We can see it in the resources lost. He is down in resources lost, while initially he must have been up in that. Right after that initial Raven fight that went so well. Marine production here is bonkers though. Let's face it. And this is also something that I don't want to say is really Byun specific, because there's other players that do it, but this 8 barracks, 8 reactor style, that is something that he is very fond of. A lot of other Terrans prefer playing 5 barracks, double factory, and then going into triple starport. And just really fighting for that air control. Well, Byun, here he goes. Can he stim in? No, he doesn't believe he can. Needs to be ever so careful. Almost does have 2-2. And then might try to pick a fight here. And he might be capable of picking a fight. Here we go, big stim forward. Neither player really sieged up quite yet. So now Liberators are going to try and take out 1 or 2 of these tanks. Might just get 1. Nope, not quite the case. 2 Ravens will, or 2 Vikings will end up falling. This is a risky move, isn't it? Oh my god! The scan! The scan sees the lack of medevacs in this army. That might be enough for Cure to realize here, but it might also not be enough. These 3 medevacs are taking the long way around. Will fly into this turret if they're not careful though. This is a beautiful rotation here out of Byun. Boosts forward, scan, sees a tank. Where do you want to drop, buddy? In the natural, not possible. In the fort base, no, not really possible either. Loses 1 medevac, gonna lose a 2nd medevac simultaneously though. This base is being assaulted. No medevacs here for extra sustain, but this command center might just end up falling. There we go, 1 more stim to take it out. 16 workers do go down. This drop went absolutely awful, but this bottom attack went great. You see Byun now up an entire base, up about 20 workers, up in upgrades, and about even in the tank count. The one thing he doesn't have is air control. You could say maybe that's something he should try to fight for, but maybe it isn't. Maybe it is not something he should fight for. Maybe he wants these games to not play out so in such a symmetric way. Here we had a pause, and this is actually perhaps quite interesting. During this little pause, Byun had some wrist issues, which he's had in the past in the GSL studio specifically. And it was about a 2-minute break. So just a little bit of context added there, where he had some of these issues. Now, double drop is heading in towards the main base. Turret is ready. That's, I feel like, the 5th medevac that just gets taken out pretty much for free here, as these Marines will try and take out a lip, take out 1 lip, but lose a bunch more Marines. So far, these Doom Drops have not really achieved all that much. I guess they opened up an opportunity after trying to go for the Doom Drop in the fort and then the natural. It opened up the opportunity to kill this 3rd base. Now, there is a new command center ready, as Byun tries taking his 5th at this point. He is still up in supply in a pretty significant way, but he needs to be careful. He needs to be careful. If this base gets set up again, and he can't continue this momentum. Like, he is playing against someone that is getting those heavier units, right? Double starports are out already. We have these tanks in production right now. And once it's a 4-base setup, and you do max out as a Terran, it's difficult to break. Here comes Byun once more. Does attack into this. Is this a good fight? I think this is an okay fight. He's going to pretty much isolate this right side fort base at this moment. But is that going to be good enough for Byun? Well, there's 1 more tank. Byun wants to continue pushing forward. Oh, and accidentally sieged into his opponent's siege line, though. And as a result, might be in a little bit of trouble. Yeah, it's just going to back off for now. More reinforcements are on the way. The 5th base is up, not turned into a planetary or orbital quite yet. This is one of the things that Byun does very frequently, is that he just takes every base as an orbital because he's playing so darn aggressive. He says, hey, the moment you're on my side of the map, I've lost already. So while I have map control, I'd rather be making a lot of cash. And we almost always see these kind of pure orbital openers on the first 4 bases, and then the 5th base as a planetary. This is very Byun-esque. Now he's coming in with a rotation towards the bottom side. Stims in forward. Once again, Cure completely caught out of position. These 2 tanks, though, are in a little bit of trouble. This bottom base could die, but there's enough tanks, I do believe. So this is not quite it. Another drop towards the main base. This time, not a lot of units ready, but Marines are stimming in. Tank sieges up. 3-3 finishing up for Cure at this point as well. As this gets cleaned up once more. And Byun right now, in a little bit of trouble. He's up 20 workers. But what are 20 workers when you have 3 tanks against 9? You have 1 medevac against 4. 0 Vikings against 8. And there's 4 Liberators out, which will allow Cure to continue pushing forward. This CC might just get taken out with the last few Marines. Beautiful stuff. Absolutely fabulous. Take a look at that gas mineral ratio, by the way. If you're just building pure Marines, you don't really need that much gas often. And Byun has been mining from 6 gases for a long while now. I'd love to see a 6th base being added. He needs to win time. He needs to build up his tank count once more. There's still 2 tanks remaining. He's gonna try to... No, he's not gonna try to break this. Could have perhaps tried breaking it a bit earlier. But this tank is in range. Oh, here comes a flank. That flank is not going to achieve so much. That is 10-12 Marines that you do end up losing. Could perhaps go for an attack here on the bottom side. There are some tanks in position though to take care of that. Liberator sieging up forward. These Marines are being taken out. Medevacs also being blasted, and that's a real issue. Without medevac, stims are not so viable. As the tank count continues to grow, both players just on +1 vehicle weapons, by the way. Something interesting to note, neither player has found the time or resources to invest into that +2. This is a scary position right now for Byun. Needs to be so darn careful. He's trying to set up perhaps a flank here. He's not quite going to get it. He's not quite going to get that flank. Playing this oh so patient. This is a bunch of Marines here. What is this? It's like 50 Marines? Not quite sure what to do with him. Does he want to counterattack across the map? Does he want to come in with a flank? It's 88 Marines against 61. 6 tanks against 11. Medevacs make their way over towards the bottom side. A little bit of a rotation towards those Marines. Constant scanning going down. 51 workers to 74. That does mean that Cure's army is significantly bigger. But a big portion of that army is still at home defending. Poof poof. 2 big shots there. A couple of Marines do end up falling. Patient play here out of Byun. We'll need to unseat some of these tanks and just move them back. Ever so slowly. 1 tank will fall. Here comes an attack. Is there enough defensively? That's 2 tanks and 4 Marines. I don't think that's quite enough. More tanks are coming in. I think this base is toast though. Oh, it's going a little bit deep. It's going a little bit deep here, Byun. That was a little bit too deep. Does not quite get that command center either. So loses a big chunk of Marines. Manages to go for the initial break, but just not getting that orbital is painful. He is establishing a 6th base on the bottom side that allows him to pull away workers from over here and perhaps to even temporarily give up this base. So Byun, rather than rushing into attack this, is playing a very patient game over here. He's going to try and snipe one of these Vikings, and for the first time actually has a Viking lead, and that might allow him to be defensively fine. Cure just rushing in at this point after realizing he does not have the air superiority anymore, but these tanks and these Marines are not enough. Byun in a world of trouble, completely failing to hold here. After losing so many Marines on the other side of the map, now desperately trying to get back home with these Marines. But can he do it? I don't know if the answer to that is yes. I don't actually know. Production is looking good still for our Red Terran player. But his eco lead has, well, slightly disappeared at this point. He's down in supply as well. Has the air superiority for the first time this entire game. Does he have extra starports for... No, this was just single starport production. We have triple starports for Cure. So Cure can take it back once he gets the resources for it. But will he ever get those resources? New orbital command is being added. Make that number 5. Mambo number 5. 36 Marines versus 36. 8 tanks versus 4. The only lead Byun currently has is the air lead. But the air lead can be very important. Also, of course, has more bases, more orbitals. Which is also very important for any potential muling that he can do. Let's not forget that Cure also is kind of struggling to just set up new bases. Just now, saturating his 5th. This planetary could be in some real pain. Gases have emptied over here. Refineries have been taken out at this point. And I like that. There's not that many workers remaining. And all the workers that are remaining, I mean, they don't really need to take gas. 24 out of 16 on this base. Ideally would like to have some over here, but is afraid of the low ground tanks. Yeah, it's going to send them over right now. Very good call. 8 marine drop though, heading towards the bottom side. Can this get cleaned up at a high pace? Byun not really paying attention. Okay, here we go. Does send them in. Vikings should be capable of dealing with this. Are being split off right now. We get a defensive scan. Here come the Vikings. Don't think he should land for that. I think there's bigger fish to fry at this point. Finn is kind of letting this medevac slip by, isn't he? Kind of forgetting that it exists. Complete lack of object permanence here. Out of Byun, he has a marine run by heading towards the top side as well. Oh, that's a dead base. That is a dead base, and that is one tank that might just end up falling as well. Byun should not commit to this, though. And he will not. He will not commit. It's up 40 supply once more. Absolutely outmining his opponent because of that gas mining. That's mainly it. Look at that. Look at that difference. Byun has this gas bank, which is now really doing him a huge favor. A massive favor. Because he can focus everything on minerals. That is beautiful. Marine run by here towards the top side, trying to take out this base. Probably not going to get it. Does force out a response, though. So you see Byun setting up in the middle of the map. Perhaps wants to go for some big doom push. Single tank at this base. Not enough for the defense. Vikings were somewhat in position. SCVs are being taken out. Vikings require 6 shots for a medevac. Are not quite going to get it. Medevac escapes, or, well, into nothingness. Marines also get to escape, and we're going to see 9, 10, 11 workers still falling. 169 supply against 159. This is actually significant damage. It felt like Byun was setting up for kind of a doom push. A final attack here, perhaps on this base. Over here, or maybe going towards this bottom side with a bunch of tanks. Now I'm not so sure what his plans are. I mean, he's still up in supply. He's down in tanks. Down 4 tanks. He has, what is that, 50, 60? Almost 60 more Marines, though. Those are big numbers as well. Those are really, really big numbers. Can we get a scan on that high ground? Do we need to? I don't think we need to. I feel like Cure desperately wants to kind of cut off this avenue of attack. You always have this high ground that can kind of siege down this command center. 2, 3 tanks over here, a couple of Marines down here. Could be really difficult to deal with because you often just hold this area. Defensive liberators are now being used. Triple starports really helping out Cure in this case. As Byun has just spent his final gas. Now we'll need to start going back into those refineries. Here we go. Exactly the move that I was talking about. Triple tanks being sent out. That's not enough, though. Oh, that is not enough. Is he even in range of that tank? Yeah, he is, right? Wait, what? This is not in range? Excuse me? That looks in range, but it isn't, I guess. That's weird. Siege tanks are going to unsiege and move back just a tiny tad. Massive doom drop heading in towards the main base with Vikings in. Why are there Vikings in position here? Why is there Marines in this base? This makes no sense. Cure's a genius. Cure's a freaking genius. Now this bottom side base will never mine again. And this area is something that Cure will need to keep in mind. We have a drop on top of these tanks. One more tank will get taken out. That was a pretty sick save there, but I don't know. Like, medevac is going to get blasted here. 2 tanks will stay alive, but more Marines and Vikings and tanks are showing up right now. You have a big siege forward. Boom, boom, boom. Sensor tower does get taken out. Tanks need to be so careful, though. Gases are being added in. Took a little while, though. No tank production is possible at this moment. There's a lot of cash in the bank. Perhaps some extra command centers would be helpful. Perhaps would be helpful. Another doom drop? He's like, oh, that last one went terrible. Let me try again. It's like a puzzle he can't finish, you know? And maybe it's because there's missing pieces, my friend. Like, this is... I'm not quite sure if you want to drop into this. It seems like not a great plan. Look at this, one medevac. Like a Marine sneezes in its direction and it will fall. I would not be entering this medevac if I were a Marine. Hello? Scans in, says, alright, perhaps not. Drops in towards... What? An interesting move here that... I kind of understand this in a way. It is It is evidently the incorrect call here for Byun, right? Making that move was definitely incorrect. But I understand it as well. I'll get to why I understand it in a sec. After this drop gets cleaned up, 20 workers have gone down though. Byun now in a world of trouble and actually truly behind for the first time. The reason why I understand this is because Byun is faced with an army that has superior tank numbers, superior Viking numbers, a lot of liberators as well. That's scary. You feel forced to do something. And you see so many units on this top side, you almost don't believe that there's going to be 4 or 5 tanks in here and 4 Vikings and 20 Marines. It feels like there should not be enough supply for that. But Cure does have the supply because his worker count has been so low this entire time as well. And now Byun is actually, despite having 190 supply, he's pretty much in an all-in position. He has 110 Marines, he has 5 tanks and 2 Vikings. He doesn't have the lead in anything, except for Marines. And Marines are not so good when it comes to trading against tanks. That's the thing they're the worst at. Cure is patiently moving forward here, taking planetary after planetary, leapfrogging forward with his tanks. Now tries to take out this tank, is going to get it as well. Byun too slow with the unsiege. Gas count very low for Byun. But I think this is what he wants. He wants that mass Marine style. He loves to make things happen with it. But so far he hasn't been capable of doing anything. 123 Marines as he moves in towards a position with 35,000 tanks, it feels like. He attacks into it and it's just gonna get... just... no? He makes it happen? He kind of makes it happen. He loses a lot of supply but has a big bank behind this. He cleared like 8 tanks over there and did a surprising amount of damage. He is still down in supply, but in my mind that fight should never go that well. There was like 8 tanks. That looked like a mistake, but maybe it wasn't. Now goes into this position. Tanks are completely on siege. Byun decides to push in. Was this correct? I don't know. These tanks were on siege. I felt like this should have gone better, but it went worse than the other fight with the siege tanks. I have absolutely no clue how this game works anymore. Tanks are being taken out here on both sides. I think Byun gets the short end of the stick in the end. Might try to go for a rotation here. If he can get a tank sieged up in this location, that shuts off the defensive possibilities. But, oh, well, that's 3 tanks. Gotta be taken out for free. There's a lot of supply for Cure, but all of it is in air. It's all air supply. Marines are coming in now, though, and these unsieged tanks are good enough. Vikings can still land as well. I think Byun right now is in a world of trouble. Continues his 16 Marine production, but is down in Marines almost at this point. 36 to 36. 5 tanks versus 4. 4 Liberators and 13 Vikings are basically just the bonus here for Cure. This army is severely overstimmed as well. So just keeping a tap on these unit counts for now. GG gets called. Cure wins this game in an unlikely comeback. Honestly, one of the sickest TvTs that I've seen ever. Also because I didn't watch TvT for the first 12 years of my StarCraft 2 career. But if I think back of the past 3 months, this is definitely one of the best TvTs. Insane comeback here out of Cure. Just fabulous play out of him. And yeah, unfortunately, Byun didn't quite manage to make it to that GSL finals. But that is going to be it for me today. Thanks all so much for watching. I hope you did enjoy this game. If you did, don't forget to hit the like button. And leave in the comments down below how much you love TvT and how badly you want to see more Terran versus Terran games. And if you don't like it, then also please tell me, because I do like feedback from my viewers. But I think this matchup, it has something special. All right, guys. I really believe it. There's something here. I've been enjoying it so much. I hope I can share that a little bit with all of you. But if that's not the case, then please let me know as well. If you're like, oh my god, not another TvT, please do let me know. I'll tone it down a bit, okay? But this passion for TvT can't be stopped. See y'all next time. Bye-bye.